America has always been defined by its views on religion and truth. For example, the Puritans believed in the God of the Bible so intensely that they set up a theocracy and in fact put standards of living that were very strict towards the Bible. As well as America's history of Christianity brought it to a point where we even put "In God We Trust" on our currency. Not only the tradition of Christianity, but creationism as well led to John Scopes, a Tennessee biology teacher, putting on trial and actually found guilty of a crime simply for teaching evolution in his class. More presently in America's history, however, we found a disfavor towards any one religion. For example, in 1968, there was a Supreme Court ruling that stated reciting the Bible in public schools was unlawful. As well as in 1992, there was a Supreme Court ruling that stated non-denominational prayers at public high school graduations was unlawful as well. And so as we see from these movements and these rulings, that what we believe to be truth is affected by how we respond to rulings and movements. Whether we like it or not, what we believe, our beliefs, help dictate what America decides to be truth. And if our nation accepts the wrong definition of what truth is, we fail to be a contributor to the world as a whole. Let's start with the early 19th century, where many of the beliefs accepted today actually originated. So in 1801, a group of people from the Protestant denominations of Baptist and Presbyterian actually separated from those denominations and started the idea called universalism. What this is the idea that no one will go to hell. In fact, the originators of this idea stated that hell was not even a biblical idea. Moving on about less than 40 years later in 1838, the idea of transcendentalism. This idea is that life isn't merely about your beliefs, but about the journey. If your journey in life is good and worthwhile, then that's what you should be living for. The combination of both universalism and transcendentalism brings about the idea of spirituality. So you may have heard someone say before, "I'm not religious, I'm spiritual." If you heard this before, this is what they're believing. There is no such thing as absolute truth. And what absolute truth is, an indisputable fact, or something that just can't be argued with, it is true. And what spirituality says is there is no such thing as absolute truth, there's only relative truth. So it depends on if it's truth to the individual. For example, a theist would say, there is a God. An atheist would say, there is no God. The spirituality point of view when addressing this would be, so there being a God is truth to the theist, there not being a God is truth to the atheist. They're both truth to the individual, therefore those truths are equal. And here's the problem. We need absolute truth. Without absolute truth, 2 plus 2 does not always equal 4, and I am not always a white male, but I can assure you I am. So, and I want you to realize about this is it's kind of ridiculous to think that simple, indisputable truths are now all of a sudden up for questioning. Not only this, but when you come with the approach of spirituality, you deny the law of non-contradiction. What this law states is that 2 truth claims cannot both be equally true if they contradict each other. For example, if you were to walk up to me and say, "Brad, you're 6 foot tall," and I said, "No, I'm 5'10". Those both can't be true. I can't be both 5'10" and 6 feet tall at the same time. It's just illogical, and that's the scary part about spirituality is we risk losing simple logic. So tell me, as a country, how are we supposed to compete globally in intellect when we can't even tell our own citizens when they're wrong and when they're not? We have to stand up for what's correct for the sake of just being able to compete globally. And pursuing spirituality means pursuing a blissful ignorance towards truth, and in fact, holding our country at a standstill of pursuing anything based on knowledge. So, is it hard to tell someone they're wrong? Of course, especially when it comes to something like intellect. But is it necessary? Yes, very much so. We can't expect to grow in knowledge and grow in anything pertaining to intellect if we can't first be told wrong when we are wrong? So therefore, I plead with you, when it comes to your idea of what truth is, I'd ask that you reconsider if you go towards spirituality just for the sake of us as a nation being able to compete globally, as well as just keeping and preserving mere logic. Thank you.